It's Saturday, May 24th, 2025. I hope everybody is having a blessed Memorial Day weekend. Short little video here today. Just wanted to touch base with everybody, share a few of these articles I was reading this morning. First one coming from Fox Business. Buy now, pay later usage for groceries nearly doubles as consumers struggle with food costs. We talked about this a few days ago. We are at a point now in America where people are financing their groceries. They're financing essentials. Yet, if you read some of the articles today, also on Fox Business, this is going to be a record-breaking weekend for travel. People flying, says here, 3.6 million people expected to fly. Record number of people are going to be traveling on the highways. They'll be staying at hotels. They'll be buying gas. They'll be going out to restaurants. So it's very confusing when you read that 80% of people in this country are working paycheck to paycheck, and that we are seeing such a large usage of buy now, pay later for people just to purchase groceries. And yet we're hearing about record numbers of people traveling. Are you going to be traveling over this weekend? If you are, great. God bless you. Have a safe, blessed weekend. How many of you are just saying, no, I'm staying home, I'm going to cut it out? 45 million people are expected to travel this weekend. I will be definitely staying off the roads this weekend. But ask yourself this. If these numbers are true, I don't even trust the numbers, the data anymore, but let's just say that this is accurate. How do you think people are going to be paying for these weekend trips, paying for flights, paying for hotel rooms, paying to go out to dinner? How do you think people are going to do this? They're going to be using buy now, pay laters? Are they going to be using credit cards? A majority of people will. Again, none of this makes any sense. There's so much reckless spending, so much doom spending going on out there. People don't want to adjust their lifestyles. They don't want to downsize. They don't want to live below their means. They want to continue to live above their means. And I know 99% of you watching this video right now know exactly what's coming, and you're all preparing and getting ready, and you're cutting things out of your life that just don't make any sense. That if it costs so much that you can't afford to pay cash for it, that you have to put it on a credit card, you're opting out and just saying, no, we're not going to do it. If you cannot afford to do this stuff, don't do it. Watch. GOP senators rail against staggering $4.7 trillion in untraceable Treasury payments. Nearly 1/3 of Treasury payments lack proper ID codes. 1/3 of Treasury payments lack ID codes. And who said that? Scott Bessent. Where is the money? Where did the money go? Again, look at the fraud, look at the theft, and nothing is going to happen. I'm getting to the point now, right now, we have not seen anybody indicted, arrested, prosecuted, nothing. This stuff is going to continue to go on. I pray to God that we begin to see something happen, but right now, we're almost $37 trillion in debt. We're spending around $1 trillion a year on interest on that debt. And let me remind all of you, this is your money, your tax dollars that are being absolutely ripped off, wasted. People are stealing it, and nothing's being done. Let me ask all of you this, comment down below. Are we going to see anything done about this? Everything we saw with Doge, all of the fraud, all of the waste, all of the theft, are we going to see anything done? Will anybody pay the price? Will anybody be brought to justice? I pray to God that they are, but I'm really losing hope in that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's unbelievable that these payments are untrackable. $4.7 trillion in untrackable Treasury payments. Nearly 1/3 of Treasury payments per year lack proper ID codes. Scott Bessent. So what are we going to do about it? Is it just going to continue to go on? Here's another one today. Many of you probably were watching this on the news today, the crypto shock. Crypto investor kidnapped. He was tortured by a ex-business partner. Threatened with a chainsaw, threatened multiple different ways. He was tied up with electrical cords, tasered, very, very gruesome. And his ex-business partner wanted the passwords to his crypto accounts. A cryptocurrency investor has been charged after he allegedly kidnapped an Italian former business partner and tortured him for 2 weeks. And he brought him, I believe, to his house in New York. And I believe he was paying like $75,000 a month for this property. So this guy obviously had a few bucks. The victim was able to escape, was able to flag down a police officer, and now the suspect's been arrested, multiple charges. I bring this up because we talked about a story last week. Coinbase handed over data of 70,000 users in this hack that took place. And again, it's a reminder, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But now these high net worth crypto investors who have had their information stolen in this hack are now susceptible. They're vulnerable to something like this happening to them. Think about this, 70,000 users, their data has been handed over. How many of these 70,000 users were high net worth, multi-millions of dollars in crypto? And so now they have to worry about, you know, somebody kidnapping them and wanting their passwords. So what are your thoughts on this? Again, you know, I'm not a big crypto guy. I believe you don't physically hold it, you don't own it. It just seems to me that with the amount of hacks, cybersecurity, now kidnappings, the amount of theft that has taken place and fraud, you know, I still kind of really stand where I stood years ago on this stuff, that, you know, it's basically made up out of thin air. And if Bitcoin failed, there's 1,000 other cryptos that do the same exact thing that would just replace it. So, you know, we always hear about that, you know, there's only so much Bitcoin. Okay, well, what does it do that another crypto couldn't replace it and you'd have more crypto? So again, I think it's a massive Ponzi scheme. I'm not saying don't buy it, don't gamble. If you enjoy gambling, you can afford to do it. By all means, do what your heart desires. But to me, this is pure gambling. And I'm not here to ban or outlaw gambling. You can do whatever you want to do. But they can pull the rug out on this stuff anytime they want. They can shut the system down. They can do a cyber attack. They can shut the power down. They can shut the internet down. And then what good is this stuff? If you physically cannot use it, but you need, you know, energy, electricity, a computer, it's worthless. At least with cash, it's physical. Gold, silver, physical. So I know that I'll get some hate for this, but again, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm not telling you not to gamble, but this is purely gambling. And to me, it's still a Ponzi scheme. It doesn't matter how much it goes up. It can go down to zero overnight. And most of you know this. And again, let me repeat, not telling you not to own some crypto. I have nothing against that. But you are very vulnerable to somebody taking it from you through a computer. They can physically, now they know where you live. They have your data. If you're a high net worth individual, they may be looking for you. And we've seen so many cases of this where these criminals show up at the residence of these high net worth crypto investors, and they want those passwords. So just like anything else, if you have something somebody wants, you could be vulnerable. So make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have security. Make sure you have the right tools, cameras, alarms, and those proper tools in training, because if they breach the door, the alarm, the cameras, you're on your own. And it's going to be a while before the police get there. So make sure you protect yourself, whether you're holding gold, silver, crypto, whatever. But to me, again, crypto is more susceptible because they can shut power down. They can hack into it. They can do cyber attacks. They can ban it. There's a lot of things that they can do. So be careful, be cautious, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to share that with you. Here's how much a made in USA iPhone would cost. I think I asked this question yesterday because you know, we have a problem here that this administration wants Apple to come to America, make these phones in America, and I'm all for that. I think that's wonderful. But as I asked, how much would it cost to buy an American-made iPhone? And in this article on CNBC, they're saying it would be $3,500 for, you know, what you'd pay right now for a $1,600 phone. It would be $3,500. You're looking at a 25% increase in labor costs. Apple would have to spend around $30 billion over 3 years to move 10% of their supply chain to the US. Extremely costly. So, you know, I don't know what the answer is here. We have got to begin making things again right here in this country. But what is it going to cost to make certain things? It's going to be very, very expensive. So who's going to be buying iPhones at $3,500? We're so dependent now on other countries with slave labor and paying people, you know, $2, $3 a day to make a product that I just don't see how this is going to work out. I really, really don't. But if we don't make things here in America, it's not going to work out either. Something's going to have to be done here. If we're not producing and manufacturing things here in America, we are going to fail. This country will not, it will not survive. It will not survive in this global economy. Countries that are going to survive are the countries that make stuff. And China's making literally everything. So how do we do this? I don't have the answer. I really, really don't have the answer. But we're in a place now where we've never been. We're in uncharted water. We're completely reliant on other countries for food, for goods, for services. And, you know, can we do it as cheap as they can? No. I think we make a better product here, and I think we can be competitive in certain areas. But there's no way you can compete against slave labor. But why are we buying products that we know they're using slave labor? So let me know your thoughts on that. Freight waves. China, U.S. container rates up by double digits. Get ready for more inflation, ladies and gentlemen. Freight rates out of China to the U.S. Are surging, up 19% for a 40-foot container. So those things at Target, Walmart, etc., Best Buy, they're going to get more expensive. Container costs, shipping costs are going up. We have tariffs, and these tariffs are, this pause doesn't mean we have no tariffs. We have tariffs. And what happens after the pause is over? Are the tariffs going higher? Who knows? Here's another one from Freight Waves. Warner suspends 401k match for employees to cut costs. Warner Trucking, you've seen their trucks all over the place, huge trucking company. They're taking action right now to cut costs, cutting $40 million in costs. Their stock is down 27% in the past 52 weeks. Look, I want to see nothing but success for the U.S. economy. I love this country. I don't want to see anything bad happen to it. I want to see people get good jobs, be successful. I want the economy to be booming. But we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be realistic with where we're at right now. This economy is failing. And I'm not blaming this administration. Let me be very, very clear. What we just went through for 4 years, to me, was an absolute crime. Absolutely repulsive. What these people did in this past administration to the United States. And the price we're now paying with this U.S. economy and the inflation that we're having to deal with right now. And this is going to take years, not months, years to repair if we can even do that. So again, you are watching the fallout from a collapsing economy. And we're seeing so many trucking companies just close down now. Warner is now cutting costs by suspending their 401k match. You're probably going to see a reduction in their management, maybe a reduction with their drivers, don't really know. But we just saw management, corporate with Walmart. They just let go of 1,500 employees. And again, trucking companies almost every day are just closing down. Here's another one. Freight industry layoffs surge across California and Texas. This is also on Freight Waves. Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and F&S Produce announced 1,048 job cuts just last week alone. You know, it was just 2-3 years ago. Remember, every day in the news, They needed truck drivers, truck drivers, truck drivers. They wanted everybody to be a truck driver. Go get your CDL, get a commercial driver's license. We need truck drivers. We have so much business. And now all these truck drivers are losing their jobs. Just a few years ago, it's amazing what a few years can do, how quickly things can change. But now truck drivers are losing jobs. Trucking companies are closing up every day. Warner cutting their 401k match, container rates exploding. This is going to be very, very inflationary. And let's not forget the massive amount of layoffs, how that is going to contribute to this economic collapse here in America. We have a housing market that is completely frozen now. Commercial real estate has been in an apocalyptic state now for years. Nobody talks about. And we have nearly 80% of this country living paycheck to paycheck, but they're going to tell us all weekend, just everybody's traveling, everybody's, going out and, taking a 3-day vacation, 36 million people flying, everybody's going to be at the restaurants. Again, most of the people watching this video right now are not buying into this. Most of you are living below your means. Most of you are just cutting out the nonsense. I'm just going to chill at the house this weekend. And that's about it. I'm trying to just cut things out. I'm trying to spend as little as possible. And I'm just trying to build up the war chest, cash, gold, things like that. And of course, looking at real estate, trying to find a small farm ranch out of this state at the right price. But prices are still extremely elevated, and they're elevated with mortgage rates at over 7%. None of this makes any sense. We are living in the twilight zone right now. Again, to me, it's 100% unsustainable. You cannot have this much debt. You cannot have people, majority of this country living paycheck to paycheck. You cannot have a majority of our GDP based on consumption. 70% of our GDP here in America is based on consumption. We produce debt. Other countries are producing real things. How long does this go on? And then you can go to the US dollar. The dollar is going to be challenged. It's being challenged now. I expect probably in the next 30 days, you're going to see another country dump a huge amount of US Treasury bonds at some point. And this is going to be even more inflationary for America. And you have to think, who's going to continue buying all this debt when the world is watching this disaster take place here in America? And, I think we are under the assumption that the world loves us, that everybody loves us. And I think at some point we're going to wake up. And I think the administration's finding out now that the world doesn't love us, that the majority of the world is trying to get away from the dollar. They're going to dump bonds. They're going to do business with one another. They're going to do business with other currencies backed probably by gold. And let's face it, the world reserve currency is going to be gold, because that's the direction it's going in right now. You notice how years ago, gold was like kryptonite. Nobody talked about it. It was this pet rock. Nobody wanted it. Nobody talked about it. Now it's all over the internet. They talk about it on CNBC. They talk about it on Fox Business. Now all of a sudden people are talking about it. And guess what? The more they talk about it, the more interest it's going to get, and more people and more investors are going to start buying it. We've got Basel in July. Supposedly, don't know. Gold is going to go from a tier 3 to a tier 1 asset. If that happens, expect prices to absolutely surge. It is only a matter of time, because at some point, investors are going to figure out that this is just paper. And if you're going to protect yourself with what's coming and what's starting right now, you're going to need more than paper. You're going to need something with a 5,000-year history. It's called gold. It's the world currency. There's no country on planet Earth where somebody doesn't know what gold is. There's no country on planet Earth that you cannot convert your gold for fiat currency anywhere and go buy food, go buy real estate, whatever you have to do. It is real money. It is God's money. So be careful out there with all this gambling with the cryptos, all this gambling in the stock market. Make sure you have some money out of the system, and make sure you have assets out of the system, like gold, like silver. And in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, gold and silver are the two most undervalued assets on planet Earth. They are on sale, even at the prices they're at right now. My opinion, not financial advice, but I think they're on sale. Look at what's going on, and look what potentially could happen. God bless every one of you. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Be safe out there. spend time with family, friends, and thank God for everything you have. He's really blessed you. He's blessed you with another day of life, and He's blessed you with knowledge. Have a great day. Take care.